Cool. Yeah, we can start in 30 seconds if you want to record. We'll give people till like, 1 minute after, and then we'll hop on. It's just so nice today. Went to walk to get the kids from school, and I just couldn't believe how nice it was. It was amazing. I think it's a little easier to deal with the pandemic when it's nice weather. Okay, so it's one after, so let's start. So again, welcome everybody to session 4. Can't believe it. It just, time keeps flying by. 4 weeks already. Here we go. So a couple questions this week. And again, I just want to thank everybody for the questions that are coming in, or more. I'm getting a lot of comments from this group. So I appreciate those comments. It kind of helps me steer where I want to go, or maybe what you maybe want me to explore even further. There's some comments more about, even maybe lengthening some of the practices that we're doing. So that's cool with me. I'm guiding them. So if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it. I want to go over basically 2 practices for this coming week. One is an informal practice and one is a formal practice. The formal one we'll do it at the end, and it's a little longer. But someone made a beautiful suggestion that we could start our practice. We could start this session with a practice. The kind of the language was something, I'm paraphrasing, of course, but the language something to the degree of letting us kind of set our intent to be here and not have to answer emails or be at work, right? Like to just give yourself the permission to just be here for the next 25 minutes or so. Okay. So let's try this out. Let's get comfy. And again, as comfy as you can get wherever you are. Okay. So again, what I always recommend is that, well, if you can and you can lean against something, great. If not, you're like me, you can just do a straight back. But again, whatever's most comfortable for you. All right. That's always the most important to me. Right. So just find your posture, sitting, resting, or some of you even lying, and that's totally fine. And what I want you to do is I want you just to take this moment, just bring your awareness to your breath. So if you're thinking, what does that even mean? Take your awareness to your breath. Well, bring your awareness, the spotlight in your mind, focus it on your breathing. So reminding yourself, we can do this in a couple ways. Personally, I like to breathe in, and when I'm breathing in, I like to notice how my body reacts to my breathing. So typically, I notice my body kind of has that expansion quality on the in, and then I watch it kind of shrink or contract on the out. And again, maybe your mind goes off. We're just going to invite it to come back. And now purposely breathing in through your nose and just out when you're ready. And again, there's no way you have to stay with my breathing. I would actually prefer that you're comfortable enough at some point to watch your own breathing. So again, as you breathe in, notice that you're breathing in. And then as you breathe out, allow that breath to just kind of leave. And now what I would suggest that you do is you very gently and kindly bring your awareness to your body sitting or resting on your chair or wherever you're practicing. So just very gently bring your awareness to your body sitting. So again, notice that your mind might wander off, and your mind might go to thoughts, and your mind might go to sound, but we're going to always come back and we're going to bring our awareness into our body now. So before we were watching our breath, now we're purposely paying attention to our body, just sitting and resting. And again, there's no need to go anywhere or do anything. For me, my awareness is going into my body, the place that's making contact with my couch. So maybe for you, you want to bring your awareness to your feet for some reason. That's cool. If your mind goes to your body, sitting or your back against your chair, allow it to be there. But what I want you to do with a keen interest is just pay attention to your body. Wherever your mind goes to, focus in on that body. And now we're purposely going to focus that awareness on your feet. So we're just bringing that awareness to our feet. We're allowing our awareness to be at our feet. And when your mind wanders off, we're noticing that and we're coming back to focusing on the feet. Focusing on the feet. The mind goes off, okay, noticing, coming back to the feet, and now bring that awareness now into your back. So now I want you to imagine that you have this spotlight, and now you're just aware of your back. So you're aware of your back sitting. So interesting enough, as I'm doing this, I'm noticing that my back is a little sore. So I'm just now noticing that. My mind automatically said, okay, why is it sore? Is it from the workout yesterday? Is it because you've been sitting and teaching a lot of the day? I noticed that as a thought, and I come right back to just noticing physically, noting my body, bringing my awareness to the body. This is not problem solving time. I am purposely focusing on my body. And now what I want you to do is I want you now to zoom out and look at your entire body just sitting or resting where you are. Zoom out, look at your entire body sitting or resting where you are. Okay, and when you're ready, very, very slowly and very gently, just allow your eyes to open. So that was almost a 7-minute practice of just doing nothing more than watching your breath and then exploring what it's like to be in your body. Every practice doesn't have to be like this epic practice. Most practices are really boring. It's like my practice this morning was super boring. And you're like, wow, Mike, you're selling this mindfulness thing exceptionally well. Well, I want to be realistic. We're looking at this practice as a form of training your brain. So when we're watching your breath and your mind goes off and we bring it back to your breath, we're using that breath as our anchor. As you develop your ability to be with your anchor longer in conversations with people, when you're talking to them and they start boring you, or you start thinking of other things that are going on, you can notice those judgments and come back to the present moment. That's what we did with our body. You're focusing on, let's say for me, my mind went to kind of like my sitting bones or my butt sitting. I was just there. And my mind went off to thinking about something tomorrow. I noticed that and I come back to my sitting bones, right? To what it feels like to be sitting. The informal practice this week is your ability to notice physically what's your experience, emotionally what's your experience, and then mentally what's your experience. And it's not like, well, I feel physically, I feel discomfort. How can I change this? It's not that. It's not, well, emotionally, I feel angry. I don't want to be angry. I want anger to get out of here. It's not that. It's just doing an inventory. How are you doing right now physically? Take an inventory. How are you doing right now emotionally? Take inventory. How are you doing mentally right now? And people are like, what do you mean by mentally? Well, mentally, I mean thoughts. Where are you mentally? Are you future oriented? Is your mind thinking about something that might happen, could happen? Or is your mind going to the past and kind of rehearsing what happened today or rehashing it? Or is your mind in the present? When I'm talking about taking inventory physically, emotionally, or mentally, all I'm asking is, all right, let's take note of where you are right now physically, right now emotionally, right now mentally. See, we do this practice formally, guided. We run it a couple times. So then it becomes like a well-oiled machine. And then as you gain momentum, you can start doing this at work or you can start doing at home, with your family. Why is this important? Well, sometimes with the work that we do, we end up putting stuff in our emotional backpack, which I've talked about in the past. And then we go home and we unload some of that emotional backpack stuff at our dinner table or later that night. And our mind's like, "Meh." What we want to do with this idea of checking in physically, emotionally, mentally, we're going through and saying, okay, right now I'm noticing that this is here and I'm feeling it here. And you're addressing it in the moment. Instead of at 2:30 in the morning, it's like, hey, what about this? I was doing some work with some physicians earlier today. And I said to them, okay, so what would you like from this session? And one said, well, I just want to stop waking up at 2:30 and thinking about everything the next day. And I said, well, okay, cool. We're probably not going to be able to solve that right now, but in about 4 weeks, no problem, if you train your brain, right? All of this work takes repetitions, all of it. So when you can start to check your inventory and say, okay, what's present? Where is it present? What's its purpose? That's what we did week 1, right? If you missed that talk, go back to week 1. The idea of that concept was for you to be comfortable with identifying your thoughts or emotions and then looking at that these are normal and you're having them for a reason, and that's okay. Because all emotions we want to look at starting to work with equanimity. Moving into next week, right, which is the next part is all basically on self-compassion and different forms of compassion for self. I really want to emphasize this week the importance of identifying things in one of 3 ways. Is it a thought? Is it an emotion? Or is it a physical experience? Because as a human, that's how you experience things, right? Let's say when Melinda, she looks at her beautiful picture and that brings up a memory. Okay, so that memory comes up, it might be an image. Well, it literally is an image. So she might see that image, but she's also going to have maybe some auditory about that, the memory. And that's a thought. Then she has this like feeling of like excitement or love or like, oh, I missed that, right? That's an emotion attached to the thought, right? People do the exact same thing in a negative sense, right? They wake up in the morning and they're sad. So it's like, that's how you feel. But what do people do? Instead of working with the sadness, what do? We think, why am I sad? Okay, is it because of this? Is it because of that? Is it, oh, it is a Monday and it's really hard to go back to Monday. And we start trying to justify our sadness. In the practice of mindfulness, we want to start with the sadness. Like say, okay, right now I'm noticing that I'm sad and that's okay. Right? Or maybe you have a distressing thought about the future. And instead of working with a thought, you just go over all the things that might happen, could happen, should happen. All of a sudden, the thoughts perpetuate an emotion of anxiety. And then all of a sudden, you can physically feel unwell. Why is that? The thought has transferred to an emotion, which is that combinations of feeling. And then the thought emotion hasn't been worked with. And then all of a sudden, we feel it in our body somatically. When we can learn to identify things in those 3 separate ways, we can then address them individually. So if Melinda is sad, right, or Linda is frustrated, that's okay. We're not saying don't be sad, don't be frustrated, stop it. We're saying, okay, you are sad and that's okay. And the inventory check-in, right, what I call the PEM, physical, emotional, mental check-in, is meant for you to do that. So let's do a quick little check-in now. So what I would like you to do is to close your eyes, and I would love for you just to ask yourself this honest question: how am I doing right now physically? So just kind of asking yourself that. How am I doing right now physically? So just a brief little check-in. And whatever comes up, let it come up. Don't try to justify it. See what comes up. And then ask yourself now, emotionally, what is your experience? So do you feel neutral? Do you feel calm? Do you feel relaxed? Do you feel a little apprehensive? Are you a little worried about something? And then mentally, where are you at? So my mind is kind of a combination of being here with you and what am I going to talk about to tomorrow. My mind keeps going to tomorrow, which I'll talk about later with you. So we're just noticing this. Physically, what's your experience? Emotionally, what's your experience? And then mentally, where are you at? And then what I have you do is I want you to now bring forward a time that was an unpleasant event. Unpleasant event. And I want you to ask yourself, in that unpleasant event, physically, what was your experience? Physically. Okay. I want you to ask yourself, when that event was happening, emotionally, what was your experience? Emotionally, what was your experience? And then what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself, in that moment, in that unpleasant event, mentally, where were you at? What was your experience? Were you in the future? Were you in the past? And again, we're not trying to judge it or blame you. Let's just take note or take inventory of what was happening. And when you're ready, allow your eyes to open. We're just going to start there with that. See, this isn't a thing. This isn't a thing where you're feeling unpleasant and then you're trying to change it from unpleasant to happiness. See, that's the main issue with people teaching meditation, is that they're like, well, you're sad, just meditate and you won't be sad anymore. That's not the case. What we're doing is we're preparing ourselves to handle the sadness in a healthier way. Right. So for me, when I was doing that practice and I said physically, what's going on, I felt, okay, I feel like really neutral, nothing too crazy. I don't feel overly awesome. I don't feel bad. I just feel very neutral. And then emotionally, I felt pretty chill. But mentally, when I did this check-in, the first one with you all, mentally, when I did the check-in, my mind was going from what am I using right now in this moment for teaching? And it kept going to tomorrow, because tomorrow I have an appointment with my youngest at Sick Kids, because he's a part of this study that they've been doing for, well, he just turned 7 and he's born this very rare tumor. So he's in a team of doctors of 14 specialists, like monitored him. And it was really, really stressful early in his life, because we thought he had to go on chemo and all these things. Right. So when my mind went, that just came up out of nowhere. I did not plan to talk about that with you all today, but it came up and I wanted to be honest where my mind went to. So then when I asked you all to work with an unpleasant event, what came up for me was, what we had to deal with, 5 or 6 years ago, right? And all the uncertainties there. So it was like physically, I felt like, woo, right? Emotionally, I felt like fear and all the unknown. And then mentally, I felt like incredibly stuck in the future. And I remember one of the main physician who was like on the team came in and she's like, you guys have benefits? And we're like, nope, great. I just left my job a year ago. And both of us are self-employed. She's like, oh, because the medicine might be like $1,200 a month. And we're like, whatever, we'll make it work. Right. But that was like, like that. Okay. So you know what I worked with? That practice in that exactly what I just did. I didn't really connect the teaching to what's happening tomorrow until I was doing it with you all live. So, it is what it is. But the reality is why I'm so all in on this flipping practice is because this is what I use all of the time to help me in here deal with things in a healthier way. And in here, right? When you can look at physically, what is your experience? Emotionally, what is your experience? Mentally, where are you at? It's not about changing your circumstance. Let's go back to week 1. What is mindfulness? Your ability to be present without manipulating the current situation. That's what it is. It's your ability to be present with whatever is there without trying to change it, right? Without trying to manipulate it. So what I want to help you all do today is help deepen. This is like for sure. The next practice is for sure the most like hippy dippy practice we've ever done. I typically don't do it the first couple of weeks because you might be like, this is exactly what I thought this guy's going to be teaching. This is like way too much. Okay. But this group has had a lot of great questions and comments. And I think that with where we're going, having a practice of grounding this during these times with all the, it's a year, like I was saying earlier, Karen, like it's been a year on Friday since I had to cancel all my workshops and it was like all this uncertainty. Not only myself, but many of the people that I work with, they've really been using this practice, the grounding practice, right? So we have the physical, emotional, mental theory, right? We have the check-in. What's the experience physically, emotionally, mentally? The practice of grounding brings in, for the first time, brings in a mantra, right? So we've talked about focusing on your breath. Your mind goes away. We're like, no. Back here, Linda, back here to the breath. Oh, the mind goes away. No. Back here, Karen, to your body. Those are 2 things we've done for anchoring. Now we're going into a mantra. So we have this sound that we say, or this, this mantra that we say, that no matter when your mind comes back, you say, okay, I am calm and I am grounded. Oh, your mind goes, no, you're not. Da, 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 da. You go, yeah, I am, girl. Come back. I am grounded. I am calm. Okay. That's how we do this. And what I love about this practice is that I first started this practice when I left my clinical gig, and I was dealing with oh, sorry, my dog really wants me to play with this bone for him. He's brought me 2 or 3 bones since we've been talking. When I came up with this practice, when I was going through like the uncertainties of starting my own business, and my mind was like, yeah, you left this clinical gig and you had a sweet job and you gave up all these benefits and da 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 da. So I felt like I was on a wire bridge a lot of the time, right? And so I came up with this practice of purposely saying I am grounded, I am calm, that helped develop more of a foundation for me to feel solid in my practice. So I'm really, really excited, like really, really excited to share this with you all today. We will do this practice, and that's how we'll end the session. Okay. Of course, if there's questions after, hit me up for sure. Right. But that's how this practice is. It's all about grounding. Okay. And we do use, like I said, a mantra, but we also use imagery as our way of kind of anchoring in. Okay. So let's get as comfy, get in your most comfortable position if you can, please. Okay. And what I want you to do, I want you to just allow your eyes to close. And I want you first just to always start with our breath, which we always do. We always like to start with our breath. So as you breathe in, noticing that you're breathing in. As you breathe out, again, allowing that breath just to come out. And again, maybe noticing that your mind has trickled off to sound or thoughts. We're not getting frustrated. We're not getting mad. We're just purposely coming back to our breath. And when you're ready at your own pace and cadence, just a nice breath in through your nose, and then an exhale out your mouth. And again, we are not judging ourselves or saying, oh, this is a bad breath, or this isn't, long enough or deep enough, or I don't do it as long as Mike. Do I have to? No. Breathe in for as long as you feel you need to breathe in for. Purposely breathe out for hopefully around the same amount of time. Okay, so as you're breathing in, notice you're breathing in. As you're breathing out, allow yourself just to breathe out. Okay, again, I like to do about 4 to 5 seconds, but if you find 3 seconds is your jam, use 3 seconds. Okay, allow it to happen as it's happening. And then what I want you to do is I want you to think of a tree. Bring a tree forward. So for me, I think of this beautiful old tree in my office, in my backspace, in my office area. So for you, maybe it's like a fictional tree or just like this beautiful tree that you can imagine. But what I want you to do is I want you to take this deep breath in, imagine that tree, and then take that deep breath out. And now what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to see the roots of the tree and how the roots go down into the earth. And I want you to imagine like the furthest tip of the root connecting into the earth. So as we breathe in, you're going to say to yourself, I am grounded. And then as you breathe out, I want you to say to yourself, I am calm. Good. And again, breathing in, I am grounded. And then as you breathe out all the way out, 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 I am calm. Good. And again, breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, long, deep breath out, I am calm. So for me, I like the imagery of the tree because it doesn't matter what's happening in the leaves. It could be a storm, it could be a beautiful day, but the tree is always rooted, it's always grounded in those roots. Breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. Excellent. And again, breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. Breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. Breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. Beautiful. And again, have that image as you breathe in, noticing maybe the branches and trees and leaves above. I am grounded. Breathing out, sending that awareness down the body and out into the roots. I am calm. Breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. So just doing this for a couple more moments on your pace, on your cadence. When you're breathing in, just say to yourself that you are grounded. And then as you breathe out, I am calm. As you breathe in, notice that you are grounded. And when you feel like to release that breath, sending that energy and awareness down your body into the roots, breathing out, that you are calm. I am grounded. I am calm. And again, of course, you're going to have thoughts in between that saying or that mantra, but we're not judging those thoughts. We're breathing in and just noticing that we're grounded. And then as we breathe out, noticing that you're calm. Breathing in, I am grounded. Breathing out, I am calm. And just a couple more cycles at your own pace, at your own cadence. It doesn't matter, again, how many times your mind wanders off, always welcoming yourself back and go, oh, hey, we're back now. Great. I am grounded. I am calm. If you're finding that imagery of the tree is too much for you, then just simply use the mantra. I am grounded and I am calm. Just allowing your eyes to open. See, the more you do this practice, the more value it acquires. For me, when I started getting into the repetition, and I literally created this practice out of my need, to be honest, like most practices I create, it's selfish reasons, and then I learned to teach them. And when I would then use this when I was having doubts, I would be like, I'm grounded, I am calm. And I would use this in real life. And I still use it to this day. When I initially started it, I had this like drum, this like huge drum that I would put on my chest and I would do it in this like rhythm, like kind of teaching and or practice. And it really kind of soothed me. And interesting enough, when I'd be like out and I would use this, I could almost like picture that drum, right? Because I practiced so many times with it. So that like that mantra to me has so much value because I've spent a lot of time investing in this practice. The idea of these first 4 weeks is not that you buy and drink everything that I sell on this practice, is that you find maybe one or two practices that resonate with you. That's the idea of this and the theory of it. Moving forward into self-compassion, if you have colleagues or friends that haven't started, they can start at week 5 starting next week. You don't have to do the first 4 weeks. It's usually best practice to do it, but it's not necessary. Okay. The importance is that you show up and water the seed, right? So whatever practice resonates with you, do it. If you're like, hey, Mike, I really like week 2 practice, I'm like, cool, use that. Try these out, see how they resonate with you. But if you really love 1 or 2 practices, make that your practice. That's totally cool with me. This isn't like, everyone doesn't have to follow the curriculum by the law. That's not really how practice works. I want to see what resonates with you. And then we kind of learn how to develop that practice overall. Okay, everybody? So if there's any questions or comments, let's do them now. If not, this group's been, I would say, pretty good at messaging me questions or comments. So if there's none live, it's cool. I'm not going to go to bed crying because I'm like, they don't like me. It's all good. Okay. Okay. So, oh, thank you. Thank you. I was like, we have a question. No, it was a thank you, but I will take a thank you. Okay. I will definitely take a thank you. All right. Because thank you. Like I said, I feel honored to get to kind of share the space and time with you. This is not a group that I go like, oh, I have them tonight. That is, sometimes that happens. Okay. This is not one of them. So I thank you for seeing your faces and showing up. And again, please continue to send me questions at mindfulmike.ca or mindfulmasse, MASSE at Instagram, either one. Okay, everybody. Thank you all. Keep doing what you're doing. Much love and keep practicing. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Okay.